Grace and peace, family. Grace and peace. Assalamu alaikum. Shalom. My hotep. Namaste. Free the land, beloved. Come on in, come on in, come on in. My name is Vicki Dillard, and I'm a very proud contributor right here on FlyNubianQueenTV.com, the network for melanated people just like you. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the broadcast. We're so pleased that you have joined us today. As you come in, we ask that you come in giving us the big thumbs up, thumbs up. That is to say, to like. Be sure to share. Let everybody you know that we're on to do our very brief war briefing today with our Black Prime Time show. Thank you so much for joining us, beloved. We have an interesting conversation today that I'm looking forward to us having regarding a familiar Black face in mainstream corporate white media. And the recent statement that she made regarding our liberation and the best way to gain it. It was pretty shocking what I heard. Shout out to our Beehive in the Digital Building, our moderators. We're so pleased that you're with us today. So family, we thank you so much for giving us the big thumbs up, sharing. And family, without further ado, y'all gonna be so proud of me with how efficiently I'm gonna move. And you know I do my best to move efficiently, especially when I have an appointment or something that I have to take care of. And that's exactly what I have to do today. So I want to show you, I didn't post today. I didn't post or anything like that today, but I want to show you something. I want you to hear a conversation that was recently had with Angela Rye. For those of you that don't know who she is, some of you are probably familiar with her on CNN and her being an advocate for us to vote for Joe Biden. And she was one of the ones that was talking down to us because we were not inclined to do so. So Angela is the one in the middle. She was recently on Van Lathan's show along with the other lady named Rachel. Apparently they do some sort of podcast together. And I want you to listen to a little bit of the conversation that they had. You all know we follow the rules on the Vicki Show. So let me read this disclaimer, copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for purposes such as fair use, criticism, comment, news, reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is used permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips to balance in favor of fair use. Now, family, I want you to really listen. Now, you've heard me say on a few occasions about how God is in the details and God is in the nuance. Because we're programmed to respond to certain words, we don't take a moment to stop to really reflect on those words. We just automatically react without meditating on, ruminating on, thinking and rethinking about something that we just heard. Because it might be a slight nuance in the language and in the way in which something was said that we might have missed. Are y'all hearing me today? So I want you to really listen to this conversation that they had. Very brief. Like I said, you guys are going to be so proud of me with how efficient I'm going to be today. Now, I want you to listen to something that Angela, she's going to be asked a question about, in fact, I'm not even going to say, you're going to hear it. I want you to listen to this.
I have a difference of opinion on one thing. And I think we talked about
Just
this earlier. Well, several things. Which one? Several things. But the roles of allies in this entire struggle of ours as Black Americans, and not even specifically as Black Americans, as Americans. I gotta be honest with you. I am over the allies. I'm over it. Yeah, I'm over it. Like, not that I don't accept and welcome allies into this, but at this point, I want people more to stay out of the way of progress than to grab a shovel, because I just don't have any faith that many people will grab the shovel and help us do the digging or the heavy lifting. I'll ask you this, because you're in these rooms, you are someone who works for change. For the Black community to see the ceiling that we want to see our representation in America as we want to see it, do we need white people to help?
Do we need white people to help? Yes, we do. It's hard, Van, because I understand the frustration, but I think if you sit with where the frustration comes from, and I even heard it in your remarks, it really comes from not wanting to be heard anymore. You know, right? Like, it's like, you know, you put this expectation out there because somebody made a commitment. They don't honor that commitment. That doesn't feel good. So I understand that. But I also have to acknowledge, speaking of Papa Rye, being raised around someone who was all the way and always about a rainbow coalition, right? Like,
now let's stop right there, family. Let's stop right there. So for those of you that are thinking, well, you know, white people run the world, so yeah, they're going to have to be involved in our liberation. Family, don't conflate the roles. Talk Black to me. To the degree we're expecting our open enemies to get involved in our liberation, it's to cut the check and it's to hold white supremacists accountable. It's to do what we say. Did you all hear what you just heard? Let me say that again. Did you all hear what you just heard? So don't sit here thinking you're being so smart when that's not the point at all. There is a force multiplier. There is a growing power, an overwhelming power that we as Black people could have together if we would first unify. You can't say and discount the possibility of us going to new levels. And if the first thing you talk about is us being outnumbered, white folks got more access to stuff. Family, there is a metaphysical, there is a spiritual principle when we first come together and put, if we come together, if we're on code together, there is an energy, an increase of energy, a force multiplier that would take place if we would but first come together. Somebody talk Black to me. How many of you all know that dynamite is small? Though dynamite is small, dynamite has a very powerful effect. So I want you to listen to this clip one more time. Listen to the question so that you don't think, well, no, that ain't what she means. She just talking about how soon, you know, white people gonna have to know. I'm not gonna let you get away with that. That's not the part that we're talking about. Don't conflate the roles of what we're discussing here. I want you to listen very clearly. One more time.
I have several things, but the roles of allies in this entire struggle of ours as Black Americans, and not even specifically as Black Americans, as Americans. I gotta be honest with you. I am over the allies. I'm over it. Yeah, I'm over it. Like, not that I don't accept and welcome allies into this, but at this point, I want people more to stay out of the way of progress than to grab a shovel, because I just don't have any faith that many people will grab the shovel and help us do the digging or the heavy lifting. I'll ask you this, because you're in these rooms, you are someone who works for change. For the Black community to see the ceiling that we want to see our representation in America as we want to see it, do we need white people to help?
Do we need white people to help? Yes, we do. It's hard, Van, because I understand the frustration, but I think if you sit with where the frustration comes from, and I even heard it in your remarks, it really comes from not wanting to be heard anymore.
Just the fact that she said that she hears the frustration in his voice because it has to do with us not wanting to be heard anymore, that lets you know right there, she knows that we're not talking about that we need white folks in terms of the big scheme of things to ultimately do what we're demanding that they do. She's clearly talking about we need white people at every level of our justice agenda, our Black agenda, our justice claims and demands. And family, this is where we've messed up. Let me ask you all something. Throughout this entire time that we have been working to get substantive change in Black society, somebody talk Black to me. This whole entire time, God bless some of our ancestors, but they have relied on and leaned on the everlasting arms of our open enemy. And to what end? What good has it done for us to try to beg white folks to believe in us, to give us justice, to do what we asked them to do? Somebody talk Black to me. What good has that done? Family, come on in, give us a thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. I see the moderators put in a disclaimer that they're to help us overcome the shadow ban, because you all know with the Vicki show, they love to make it difficult for folks to see that we're here. That's what we mean when we say shadow ban, and how some of the platforms we own make it difficult for folks to find us. And it's not by accident, in other words. So when you specifically share, when you give us a thumbs up, you help to affect some of the internal workings that are known as algorithms. And obviously, when you're sharing the broadcast, that's you going outside of the system to invite folks in. So if you have any sort of social media platform, make full use of it by, would you, at the bottom of your screen, hit the share button, copy the share button, and paste it on your social media links. We thank you so much. I'm always someone, and I'm grateful that my show is often replayed on other platforms. We have a growing reach. I'm so grateful for that. However, I always say that I always believe that we are the right people at the right time will hear this broadcast. So, but you can help and assist us with that today. And we thank you so very much for doing it. Now, family, now I want you to listen to this. Let me finish saying this one part. What I'm saying is we don't need to rely on so-called sophisticated or political so-called masterminds. First of all, there's no reason for us to identify Angela Rye, the Simone Sanders of the world, and Roland Martin of the world. There's no reason for us to confuse them with any kind of political masterminds anyway. These are folks whose goal are nothing but biscuits, biscuits, and more biscuits. Flour biscuits, dog biscuits, bones and biscuits, biscuits, biscuits. Talk Black to me. So you can't ever trust anybody that's moved by the biscuit. You can't trust folks that's moved by the bone. Are y'all hearing me today? Now, let's go back to this one more time, and I want you to listen very, very closely to this madness.
Angela and I have a difference of opinion on one thing. And I think we talked about
just
this
one?
earlier. Well,
just one? No,
several things.
Which one?
Several things. But the roles of allies in this entire struggle of ours as Black Americans, and not even specifically as Black Americans, as Americans. I gotta be honest with you.
That's how you know the difference he's talking about. He said that the role of Arab allies in this entire struggle. We don't need them in the entire struggle. The only time we need you is when we need you to cut the check. Talk Black to me, somebody. The only time we need you are in the areas that we're telling you to give over certain resources. That's when we need you. But he just made it very clear that his question has to do with whether or not we need allies in the entire process. Do you overstand? Now, this is not just about beating up on Angela Rye. I don't have to do that because she makes a total fool of herself as an esteemed League of Mammy member, a member of LOM, L-O-M, the League of Mammies. So she does a good job of making her own self look ridiculous. What I'm trying to point out is this mindset, this mental paradigm that not only the Angela Rye of the world have, but there are many other Black looking people that believe this way. And that's what I'm here to discuss. I want us to emphasize, I want us to rid ourselves of this idea that we must lean on the everlasting arm of those who are responsible for stealing us, stealing our labor, stealing our land, misusing our land, destroying our Black family, and refusing to give us justice. Do you all understand? I'm here to challenge this notion that somehow we need someone or something outside of us to get substantive change. And I'm trying to make the very clear case, which I shouldn't have to go through all this to make it shouldn't be this hard to convince Black people of the utter futility of even making such a statement and living like we absolutely have to have them. That's very dangerous. Talk Black to me. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, family. Share, 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 share.
Because it's Americans. I gotta be honest with you. I am over the allies. I'm over it. Yeah, I'm over it. Like, not that I don't accept and welcome allies into this, but at this point, I want people more to stay out of the way of progress than to grab a shovel, because I just don't have any faith that many people will grab the shovel and help us do the digging or the heavy lifting.
So by him saying that, y'all, that means he's even qualifying for Angela Rye, the type of ally he's referring to. We do not have allies that's willing to put in the work. They love to try to say racism don't exist. They love to say, well, we just all Americans. Why doesn't color matter? Well, baby, we don't see y'all. We don't see you all showing up when we need you. That's the reason why we can't claim we quote unquote Americans. That's the reason why that little pathetic motto, that racist motto that all lives matter, that is a racist motto. We can't go with that. The reason we can't go with that theoretical chit chat that you're using to cover for your multitude of racist sins, we can't go with that statement because it doesn't shake out in the numbers. When we're talking about health disparities, the facts don't lie. The health disparities negatively lean toward our people. When we're looking at economic disparities, they lean negatively toward our people. Familially, negatively toward our people. In government, in law enforcement, judicially, in every area of people activity, education, military, labor. In every area, we're at the bottom of the rung. So we can't listen to this mess. We all Americans, we all in this together, and race doesn't matter. The problem is the facts show different. And we're not getting ready to waste our energy arguing with white people to prove to them why their racism has a damning effect on our lives. See, you will be out of your mind to sit there to prove to your open enemy that they are racist and they're a problem. They do that as a trick to waste time. See, this is the reason why Roland, the unidentified Roland object who was born by a river somewhere, whose name Roland derives from the word rotund, round. Somebody talk Black to me, and roll. The reason why he feels good amongst white people, he feels like he's fulfilling purpose and destiny. He's like that inflated balloon that's sitting over on the table somewhere. And as soon as he gets in the presence of white folks, he's filled to capacity and he starts to rise. He does that, family, because they enjoy explaining stuff to people. See, Joy Reid, she gets excited. Whatever that Black chick's name is, who's on the weekend, one day on the weekend, and Capehart, the little juicy Capehart who's married to a white man, the Black man who's married to a white man, Jonathan Capehart, he come on Sundays. And the Black chick name, who I always forget, she comes on Saturdays. See, they get excited because they get a chance to talk and explain stuff to white people. The reason they are also upset with us, we in the real, the new Black media, those of us who are part of the Black grassroots, you and I, the BGR, the reason they get upset with us also, family, in addition to several other things, is that we're not impressed by the nothingness of it all. See, the stuff that impresses them, like being on white networks, that used to matter. to more Black people. Because we believe in the ownership of our own voice, controlling our own narrative. Somebody talk Black to me, that offends them because they like wasn't the guy's name in the movie Django? Wasn't that guy named Steven too? That Samuel Jackson's character, wasn't his name Steven? Y'all listen to me. Was it Steven or Stephen? Either way, you know Stephen tends to be spelled with the word S-T-E-P, step. The root word of Stephen, the root word of Stephen is step, which comes from the word step and fetch. That's from the dictionary, not the dictionary. From the dictionary, not the dictionary. Somebody said his name was Stephen. The point is, it's still a derivative of the word step and fetch. It's just a different variation of the spelling. Even if they got the V in it, talk Black to me, that's from the dictionary. Are y'all hearing me today? That character in the movie Django, who liked to lost his mind when his white slave master was murdered, the thing that causes us to rejoice is the thing that causes the Black bootlicks to mourn. God, today, that's a revelation. The thing that gives me a peace, God, today. The thing that make me feel like skipping and going to the park and getting on the swing and going down the slide. Y'all talk Black to me. The thing that makes me want to get on a ferry ride. God, today. The thing that gives me joy makes me want to eat, a popsicles and stuff. Listen for the trucks with the little cute little bell sounds and stuff. The thing that brings me joy is the thing that causes them to mourn. That's how you know we different. Talk Black to me. Why y'all laughing at me, Vicki Dillard fan page? So you guys got to understand the distinction. That character, that Stephen guy in Django, he was the one that was giving the white supremacist slave master the heads up about the plans of our people. Talk Black to me, family. See, this is the reason why they are more dangerous than the white supremacists. That is the brilliance of the white supremacists, is to use one of our own to do their bidding. But see, those of us that don't make a distinction, when we pick up on the spirit of Raccoon, when we pick up on the spirit of Aunt Jemima and Uncle Ruckus and Bone and Biscuit, baby, we don't waste time in playing with you. See, that's what makes me different. I don't sit there and patty cake until my girl come over here. I move quick, baby, and be right. God, today. I don't have time to wait for the slowness of it all. Somebody put turtles in the chat. I don't have time to wait for the turtles to catch up. Why? Because time is of the essence. Time is of the essence for the same reason. If you see somebody's having a heart attack, you wouldn't be sitting there trying to chit-chat and lollygag. You would be in a rush. Baby, too many of the Black lives are at stake for me to be playing around and waiting for you to catch up. I'm about to throw this funny-looking turtle back in the white supremacist water and tell you to take your funny-looking self over there in that contaminated waters and go swim. Some of y'all want everything that look like us. I don't. These are promised land rejects. What I look like wanting to spending time trying to get you up to speed. And you about to get the whole ship blown up. God, today. Thumbs up, thumbs up. And you think I'm under obligation to get you where you're supposed to be. The devil is a lie. I'm going to encourage you in the Lord to go over yonder. God, today. I watched that movie a couple times recently, just looking at Stephen's funny looking self. The white slave master didn't even know he was about to be tricked. He didn't know he was getting ready to walk into a ditch. Thank God. A ditch that should have destroyed his funny looking self because he's been destroying his people. Some of you funny looking Bones and Biscuits are giving the enemy the heads up. You sitting your funny looking self down there, NAACP, the Reverend Al Sharpton, the fake of the funny looking Urban League, and those of that ilk. Y'all sitting down there strategizing with Joe Biden on how you can do absolutely nothing for Black people and still get the vote, fool. This is Django. And by the way, the greatest love story ever told is Django. God, today, modern history. I just said that the other day. That's a new revelation I had. That's the greatest black love story in the movie, in my opinion. Now it's Django. The greatest superhero movie. Somebody say Django. The greatest love story. The greatest superhero story. What's some other kind of movie categories? Shoot. Courage yourself in the Lord. What we got it going on? There's nothing more attractive and sexy than a Django around this piece. God, today. Funny looking cell. That's what I'm talking about. Had that powerful resolve. And notice, brothers, he didn't have to convince the woman to so-called be submissive. Fool. He was showing traits of masculinity. He didn't need to be told what to do. She didn't have to wonder whether or not he was going to go over the river and through the woods to make sure she was going to be all right. Talk black to me. And she was gorgeous. She was giggling and stuff. He made her faint. God, today. She dropped a whole glass of water. Not because she saw some superstar, some president. Baby, she saw her man and fell out. God, today. God. He had her giddy. She was fainting and passed out and stopped. Heart was stopping out through the movie. God, today. Like a little girl and stuff. Sitting up here wondering why your woman won't act right and you ain't even who you supposed to be. If you ain't operating what you're supposed to be, that means, beloved, you're not operating in that invisible electromagnetic field that causes you to attract that so-called high-value woman. Funny looking cell. And I wouldn't have been that woman sitting there telling my honey, calm down. The devil is a lie. When a man show you he got a big black brain, can strategize and know what he's doing, baby, what you say you need? What was it, boo? Funny looking self. Thumbs up, thumbs up. But I certainly digress, deeply digress. But the love story of the year, Django. I don't care if it was written a few years ago. And the fear of a white man had to put the movie together. And Jamie Foxx in real life need to act like he's Django. God, today. But back to this girl, this Angela Rye stuff.
Americans. I gotta be honest with you. I am over the allies. I'm over it. Yeah, I'm over it. Like, not that I don't accept and welcome allies into this, but at this point, I want people more to stay out of the way of progress than to grab a shovel, because I just don't have any faith that many people will grab the shovel and help us do the digging or the heavy lifting. I'll ask you this, because you're in these rooms, you are someone who works for change. For the Black community to see the ceiling that we want to see our representation in America as we want to see it, do we need white people to help?
Do we need white people to help? Yes, we do. It's hard, Van, because I understand the frustration, but I think if you sit with where the frustration comes from, and I even heard it in your remarks, it really comes from not wanting to be hurt anymore. You know, right? Like, it's like, you know, you put this expectation out there because somebody made a commitment. They don't honor that commitment. That doesn't feel good. So I understand that. But I also have to acknowledge, speaking of Papa Rye, being raised around someone who was all the way and always about a rainbow coalition, right? Like what Reverend Jackson talks about, like what we know, the chairman of the party and of the Black Panther Party in Chicago talked about, the rainbow coalition, like really standing shoulder to shoulder with folks.
You see what this disgusting little law member did? She tried to invoke this whole idea of the Black Panthers, what they stood for, a Black coalition. Family, in war, you gotta evolve. what we can look at with ease over the past 4, 5, 6 decades, over the past several centuries, and quite frankly, over the way our open enemy has moved over the past several thousand years. What we know for sure is that we've gotten absolutely nowhere but tricked by involving them. And the reason why they can't stand the Honorable Marcus Garvey and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the Nation of Islam's founder, is those two organizations for sure did not permit knowingly white folks in the higher ups and in the ranks within those organizations. Somebody talk black to me. There was a reason for that. Only in the mind of a slave, only in the mind of a gullible sheep, a dumb, deaf, dumb black sheep, would you feel comfortable and think it a good idea to even say the words out your mouth? Let's involve mass in them in this. Let's see what they got to say about this. Let's get them to help us. Yeah, the people that raped us and robbed us and sodomized us, let's see what they got to say about this. I'm sure their motive is good. It makes sense. Well, Vicki D, the people down that we dealing with, it ain't too many of them that raped us and robbed us. Yeah, they blowing us, in the back of the head and stuff. Yes, they're doing all kinds of pharmaceutical, educational, engaging in war against us and all manner of evil with the food, the air, and stuff like that. But at least they're being nicer about it. They're not killing us as harshly, for the most part. See, sheep don't detect things well. And you think that I'm supposed to give you credit for having an empathetic and sympathetic heart with our enemy? I don't see you as that. In the same way, we wouldn't see a parent who knowingly allows their child to be around a pedophile. If a mother knew that her daughter was being molested and touched by a man and the mother did nothing about it, like this video that was been circulating about this mother who fussed at her daughter because the man was paying the bills. So she didn't want to do nothing about the fact that the man repeatedly kept coming in her room, touching her. None of you that's in your right mind. None of you that's not a nut and sick. You would not think that a parent was being nice and kind for letting a pedophile hang around their child, right? You would say, no, you need to have charges filed against you and your child needs to be taken away from you. In the same way, you wouldn't think that's cute if a mama said, well, they such good people. In the same way, that video I saw not too long ago, where the young lady recorded her mama because she clearly had been telling her mom about the man coming in her room, touching her mom's boyfriend. The mama started fussing at the girl and making it clear that the man paid the bills. So because he paid the bills, you just shut up and get touched. How many of us think that the mama was being nice and kind? How many of us would say, well, the lady is just being, empathetic to the man. She's just showing appreciation because the man paid the bills. So what? She knowingly lets her child get touched. Talk black to me. Just like you think that's sick and twisted, don't you understand that the very people and system that's responsible for your undoing, they've done that and 1,000,000 times worse, and you've justified it? You want us to believe that the Lord has something to do with you having that you being long suffering? You misusing scripture? Most of y'all are saying that's sick. Most of y'all are saying that's crazy. Exactly. You crazy for still wanting to stay in a sick demonic relationship with people who are economically, sexually, violated you in more ways than we can count. Get it through your thick head. That's the relationship. It is a sick, demonic relationship. And just like a parent that would welcome their child's abuser knowingly, just like a parent that would knowingly welcome an abuser of their child in their home, in the same way you had a visceral reaction hearing that, that's the same reaction you ought to have regarding Black society as a whole. And if you don't have that reaction, you are demonic and sick. And it's proof that that high magic, that high witchcraft that they are engaging in is working well on you, because they're not there fighting on as to whether or not they should remain in your life. It's you fighting, it's Black looking people fighting us because we said we're trying to get away from these demons. Meaning white supremacy system. That's what I mean. Talk Black to me. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up.
The folks who just get it. I don't think that there are a lot of folks who just get it, but I don't think that we're in a position to turn people away who want to. I do think.
Y'all don't sound cute saying it. Y'all think y'all look so deep because you can. Some white people gave you a degree somewhere. I don't care if you even got them at an HBCU school, and I'm giving out money for HBC students right now. But we all know that some of the HBCU schools, they got their issues too, because a lot of them have white influence. Y'all don't look cute using the talking points that your white masters trained you and taught you how to say, fool. What do you mean, Angela, we're not in any position to turn them away? Mic check, mic check. Whose planet is this? Like Diamond and Silk say, not planet. They don't say planet. They say planted. I said mic check, mic check. Whose planet is this? With that being said, who are you talking to? We're not in any position to turn them away. Fool, why not, dummy? See, that's the ones that's expecting us to stay in this sick relationship. Again, this is the reason why folk don't like me. See, that's why some of your celebrity organizers and activists, the reason why they're loved is because even though they may talk a good game about racism for 2 minutes, they're the same ones that turn around and tell you to vote for racist Joe Biden. They're the same ones that will argue with you, telling him how much he's done for the Black community. They're the same ones that tell you that sexism is worse than racism in America. Who told you you don't have the right to turn them away? I said, who told you that? And then she sit up here trying to talk in a maternal voice. See, that's the reason why I got to come out of these lambs. Because y'all get tricked. And y'all know that your mother's voice can rock you to sleep. They'll be singing you a lullaby and they'll make stuff look right because you trust it. The devil is a lie. I'm that mama that's screaming, telling you, fool, get out the street because the 18-wheeler is coming full speed down the road and about to splatter you. Wheeler coming. Angela Rye sitting up there talking about some rockabye, baby. And I'm screaming, telling you to get off the street. And while I'm screaming, I'm running towards you so I can snatch you up. That's the difference.
The responsibility and the onus should not be on us to bring you up to speed. I think you need to figure out who the wokest white person among you is and get educated there. Because what I am tired of is you picking my brain for free. I am tired of trying to conform and contort to make you comfortable for my discomfort. I am over that, and I agree with you there, but I think it would be a sad day for us to say we don't need allies when, for example, we started this podcast.
Girl, shut up. Just tell her to shut up. I can't take no more. I'm feeling like I'm being mentally demoted listening to her. So let me listen to the great Dr. John Henry Clarke, who says something very interesting.
I was supposed to be here. Every idea, every so-called religion was meant to do anything but facilitate European domination of the world. And I said, there's no exception. These systems that had its origin in Africa, all of them, and there is no exception, turned on African people. I said, there is no exception. And there's one thing you have to get through your mind and keep it. Nothing that ever came from the European mind was meant to do anything but facilitate European domination of the world. And I said, there's no exception. Everything that was brought into this continent, everything, every idea, every so-called religion was meant to dominate and to control. The Arabs had no illusions about it. The Europeans had no illusions about it. You were the ones with the illusions. And yet every element that went into the making of every major religion in the world started in Africa. Any good, that means all other religions. Islam was the handmaiden of Arab imperialism. Christianity was the handmaiden of European imperialism. The Hebrew faith was the handmaiden of a concept called the chosen people. Now, if God is kind and God is merciful and God has no stepchildren, he won't choose one over the other. And to say he chose some people, you're making him a bigot. And to say that he endorsed enslavement of one people over the other, you're making him an accessory to murder. The Arabs used Islam to rationalize their slavery and their imperialism. The Europeans used Christianity to rationalize their slavery and imperialism. Who are you kidding about friends in the world? Damn it, if you want a friend, look in the mirror.
Did you hear what the elder, the great Dr. John Henry Clarke said? He said, if you want a friend, look in the mirror, but he's not done yet.
There's 1 billion African people on the face of this earth. Why are you buying third-grade junk from third-grade people thinking you can't make it? And better for the African. So you might have some romance with one of these religions. I have no romance with any of them. I have a romance with reality and truth. And the chips can fall where they may after I tell it. As for friends, you have had no friends.
What did he say, y'all? Angela? Lam? What did he say? What did our elder tell us, family?
Properly understood is 10 times better than Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. And better for the African. So you might have some romance with one of these religions. I have no romance with any of them. I have a romance with reality and truth. And the chips can fall where they may after I tell it. As for friends, you have had no friends. When they discovered you, they began to prey on you. Now let's look at our relationship with Western Asia, mistakenly called the Middle East. For 3,000 years, our greatest enemies came from Western Asia. They were trying to avenge the fact that they were once African colonies. You read a book called When Egypt Ruled the East.
He said, we have no friends. How many of you all are familiar with the great Winnie Mandela? Winnie Mandela was the wife of former President Nelson Mandela of South Africa. Though she stood by him for 28 years while he was in some form of incarceration, do you all know that she was hunted down? Do you all know she did time in prison? Do you all know she was in solitary confinement in a hole for about 18 months? Do you all know that she went through hell? Later, they tried to accuse her for some other stuff. But this sister was hated when her husband, some of y'all don't know this about Nelson Mandela. The reason Nelson Mandela was a threat, beloved, because Nelson Mandela was a part of a group that believed in setting bombs. Nelson Mandela and them took action against their open enemies who was taking them out in South Africa. That's their history. That's who they were afraid of. And some believe that over the years that they weakened him on purpose while he was incarcerated. And some even posit what some might consider to be credible evidence or information that there was actually perhaps stuff that was given to him that caused him to be a little off. But his wife, Winnie Mandela, she became more resolved than ever over the decades. She's the one that was responsible for keeping the movement going and his name. They couldn't stand her because she believed in something that they call necklacing. Do you all know what necklacing is? When they found out that one of their own was a snitch or worked for the enemy, she endorsed what they called necklacing, where they would get a tire, put it around the necks of the traitor, and set that thing on fire. Now, I'm not saying to do that. But she didn't come out weak after all of that. No disrespect, like in my opinion, like Nelson Mandela did. Why am I bringing that up in this context? Because even over the decades, she saw the enemy for who they were. And for her, their nature and their character never changed. So they demonized her. They tried to connect her to some other scandals and different things that was going on. But this woman was a queen. And she wasn't fooled by her eyes. And she was not allowed to be weakened over the years. Some of you don't even know the real nature of your open enemy. So you wonder why people like me are constantly calling out our open enemy. Beloved, I used to think white folks were special too. I'm from Mississippi. We were taught there's an energy in the spirit to kind of worship them. You're trained and programmed in conscious and unconscious ways to see them as God. But my own very tumultuous journey about the inner workings of the nature of our open enemy is why I know who I'm dealing with. And some of you that are on the fence, you may not get it, but I'll wait for you to catch up. You all know I don't teach you to be reckless or to be crazy or nothing like that. But you ain't the one that's been behind the scenes in the way that I've been behind the scenes to know the inner workings of your open enemy. They know how to trick you, and they know how to manipulate your very black eyes and nose and mouth and ears and fingers. They know you're only controlled. Thank you. I got to get ready to go in just a moment. They know you're only controlled by the stuff that you can sense in the earth realm. They know enough of us don't know how to tap into our black power. We've demonized our own powers. We've called legitimate black practices witchcraft, but you turned around and embraced a white supremacist Christianity and said it was from the Lord. The same religious basis that they used to rape you, y'all serve the same God now. And you will demonize your brother and sister that's of another spiritual persuasion, but then call your open enemy with the same religion your brothers and sisters in Christ. Somebody talk black to me. Winnie Mandela probably wouldn't agree with the Angela Rye type. What makes you dangerous to your open enemy is when you recognize that you don't need them at all. When you recognize that they're the newest people on the planet. This world has always been ours. We're the greatest creators of civilization, and everybody imitates us. That you still have that potential if you but tap into it. That's the danger, beloved. Is to once and for all wake up and say, I really don't need you like that. That's where we've got to come to, Black family. Is where we're comfortable teaching our own, doing business with each other in a greater way, forgiving and loving on each other in a greater way, tapping into our powers, unifying and being on code in a greater way. Now, I've got to get ready to go, but I was so disgusted when I heard that clip from her, but I wanted to share it. And it's not just about beating up on Angela Rye. It's about exposing that mindset that we've got to have other people. To the degree other people are involved in it, we dictate. You ain't finna be running nothing. You're not going to be in the control center of Black liberation. We pick what we want you to do. You ain't about to run nothing up in here, is my point. It's a new day. You all know I encourage you to be wise, to be intelligent, be self-reliant. All we've ever needed was ourselves. Of course, there's so much more I could say about this family, but I've got to get ready to run right now. Make sure that you get the replay to my amazing male-female relationship 2-hour plus webinar that I did over the weekend. Shout out to our brother Derek Jackson, my brother Derek Jackson, that showed up and just gave us his own personal insight through his tumultuous journey that he has been going through. But I was the one that was certainly dropping metaphysical gems, spiritual gems, and giving you insight as to why some of the wars amongst the Black male and female have existed is more than what meets the eye. What we're upset and angry about is not just because you feel like that your woman is overweight, honey. And it's not just because the Black man ain't doing something that we want him to do. It's not just that. It's more to it than what we know. And so those were the things that I was able to, just a few things that I was able insight to give, but our brother really added very strongly to the webinar. It is absolutely amazing. Nothing but rave reviews. Be sure to get the right replay today at flynubianmastermind.com, flynubianmastermind.com, flynubianmastermind.com. Follow me on Instagram at Vicki X Dillard. Follow me on Twitter at Dillard Vicki. I hope to see you this week again, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, same time, same place. Normally I'm here 6:30 p.m. Eastern. So I can't wait to see you again. Of course, my name is Vicki Dillard, your sister with the curly braids. I bow to you. You are my bliss, and I can't wait to see you again.